Does it feel like you've tried everything to overcome your social anxiety? You've tried therapy, medications, and just about everything else, and nothing seems to work. But what if someone gave you, let's say, the secret formula to overcome your social anxiety?
The secret of the Krabby Patty formula is...
Jackpot! The only catch is that it's gonna be really uncomfortable. But you will get paid $10,000 if you complete it. Do you think you could do it? That's exactly what Mark Manson offered a woman who has been struggling with social anxiety her entire life. As I unravel the layers of the video Mark Manson unveiled about this process just weeks ago, I'm going to show you why and how this worked. And more importantly, I'm going to show you how you can wield this same strategy and use it for yourself. Even though I can't shower $10,000 upon each one of you who goes through this challenge, you can still make it work for you. And I'll explain later how the money played a very small part, or probably no part, in helping Melinda take on these challenges. Stay with me as we explore Melinda's journey, weaving together the threads of discomfort, resilience, and human potential. Mark provides 5 steps of exposure therapy to overcome social anxiety. And Melinda has to complete a challenge for each step, or maybe better said as like a category, starting with desensitization. I can't ever say that word. Starting with desensitization. I don't think I can say this word. Desensitization. Whatever. In layman's terms, it means decreasing your body's response to particular situations.
Somewhere in this courtyard right now, there's somebody from Saskatoon, Canada. You need to find them and meet them.
Yikes. You may be thinking that there is no way you could or would ever do this. It's too big of a challenge. And maybe you're right. Maybe it's too big of a challenge for you personally. It doesn't fit the baby step criteria that I talk about often. It might even be too big for Melinda, but let me tell you why she still might be able to do it. And it's because she has accountability. Mark is there the whole time. No, he's not holding her hand, but she knows that he's there, so she knows that she's not alone. Even with him being there though, she still definitely struggles to get going. You watch the footage and you can tell she is stalling a little bit, overthinking, and pretending like she's on her phone. But then she finally pulls the trigger.
Oh, she's doing it.
Are you from Saskatoon, Canada? I'm not.
Once she finally takes that first leap, she's able to talk to more and more people with much more ease. And she finally finds the Saskatooner.
Are you from Saskatoon, Canada?
Yes, I am.
Are you?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
You did it.
Going back to how to make this work for you, because maybe this is too big of a challenge for you, or you don't have an accountability partner like Mark, do something smaller. Take on challenges that make you anxious, situations that make you anxious, because that's where the progress starts, not doing what Melinda does. So maybe it's waving or smiling at 10 strangers, or asking for directions to a place that you already know where to go, or asking to pet someone's dog at the park. Do something that works for you. Now, Melinda's moving on to the second challenge, which is categorized as curiosity. The step is all about getting your curiosity sparked, so your brain moves from thoughts about you and more towards thoughts about everyone else. Your curiosity is pointed towards them. Once you can get this activated, you'll see that your social anxiety starts to disappear. The challenge is taking classes with instructors on things that she's never done before. And Mark prompts her to ask questions of the instructors from a stance of curiosity. At first, this may feel kind of forced, like you're just asking questions just to ask questions. But as you start to do that, you start to feel more comfortable, and you'll start to feel that you feel more genuinely curious about that other person. And so it becomes more of like a genuine conversation. You're not asking just to ask, you're asking because you genuinely want to know about that person. When that genuine curiosity comes in, that is when the magic happens. So maybe you don't have the funds to, take a baking, yoga, pottery, or surfing classes, but what's something that you can take on that will have the same or similar impact? One thing you could do is go to a museum in your area. This is pretty low key and also gives you the opportunity to ask questions of people that work there. Let your curiosity wander about the history that is surrounding you. And if you're watching this, kind of thinking to yourself, Kyle, this is too hard. Don't you understand? I have social anxiety. Yes, I do. But if you are here for an easy solution, I am not your guy. Remember what I said earlier? It's going to be really uncomfortable. If you're not willing to do that, you may need to reevaluate how bad you want to overcome social anxiety, because maybe you just don't want it enough. On to the next step/category, which is one of my personal favorites, and that is humor. Mark has her dress up in this goofy costume with himself, where they have a sign promoting their promotional giveaway of free hugs, which people are reading the sign and start to come up and give them hugs from all around. Challenges that involve my own, appearance are the type of challenges I probably personally do the most often. Do you know why? It's because it's addressing a trauma for me. When I was little, I had experiences where I felt out of sorts from others because I was dressed different than most people starting in kindergarten. And that feeling of feeling out of sorts didn't stop after I left kindergarten. That followed me for a long time throughout my entire school career. And it caused me to overanalyze everything about my appearance, from the clothes that I wore to my pale skin to the color of my hair. I felt like people were judging me all the time based on my appearance. So that's why I started wearing goofy socks every day, and why I've done challenges where I bought a Santa suit online and, went shopping in Target in the middle of April. It was to combat that trauma that I had where I felt like everybody was judging me based on my appearance, and it made me realize that, well, one, no one cares about my appearance, and number two, the only person that needs to be okay with my appearance and how I look is me. So start small here and have fun with this. Do something that makes you a little bit anxious, but also makes you laugh because of how silly it is. It could be as simple as wearing a necklace made out of a make your own oven mitt kit. I know, oddly specific. Vulnerability. Socially anxious or not, this makes most people pretty uncomfortable. It's difficult to be vulnerable, especially with people you don't know. Mark talks about something that he calls the going first principle, which he explains is basically you opening or sharing with someone, first, and then they feel the comfort to be able to return that share back to you. By doing this, it builds intimacy in the relationship. No, not like that. Mark gives her note cards and prompts and forces her to go first. To do this yourself, I think you can do it with a family member or friend, or honestly, you can do the same thing that Melinda does and just do it with a bunch of random people. Your preference. But if you do want to do this with a bunch of random people in a kind of similar setting as you see in Mark's video, just hop on Omegle or one of the similar sites where you can get in random video chats with people. And when you do this, have kind of prompt questions ready to be able to ask people. But of course, you want to go first, the going first principle. So maybe you can start the conversation something like this. Hey, I got this kind of interesting question that I want to ask you, but first I want to answer it for you myself, make you feel a little bit more comfortable answering it yourself. So here's the question. Are you down? That's just me spitballing, but something like that. Here's some questions you can ask courtesy of an old friend of mine, Jan Keck, who makes these cards and sent me a deck of his own cards, and they're called Ask Deep Questions. What life lesson would you share with your 14-year-old self? If you could relive a single moment of your life, which one would you pick? Which parent are you closer to and why? If you'd like your own deck, I'll put a link in the description on where you can go to purchase one. What Melinda found, and what you will find as well, is that being vulnerable with someone and then also having them share back with you is such an amazing moment and feeling. Finally, the last challenge, authenticity. I don't know why I said it like that. Mark surprises her by taking her to a room full of people that she knows, and then tells her that her last challenge is to get up in front of all of them and just kind of talk about her anxiety from her past, present, and then moving forward. So how can you transition this to your life? Share your experience with your journey on this exposure therapy challenge like this, or your own that you've done before, and share it with a friend or a group of friends, or shoot, even send me a video telling me about how it's went, what the progress you've made. This seems like a scary step now, but once you get to this point, I promise you this is not scary at all. It will be amazing. In fact, you will be excited to do this step because you finally get to share the story of how you transition from anxiety controlling your life to being at the point you are now where you are in control, doing what you love to do, and making your decisions based on what you want to do and not anxiety or social anxiety. I would know, as I do this all the time, and not just here on YouTube. This is part of my speaking career as well. And I tell you what, I love it every single time I get to do it. Now, if you want to take on some challenges like this, but you want some help with the structure of it and have some accountability, I'm going to put my email address in the description of this video. So send me an email if that's you, and let's make it happen. And if you're on the fence or you're thinking, well, the only reason she was able to do it is because she had $10,000 to work towards, I can promise you that $10,000 did not help her do this at all. It was the accountability that she had from Mark, which is what helped her do this. I'm telling you, accountability is one of the greatest tools that you can have, because sometimes no matter how much you want to start doing something or stop doing something, if you don't have that accountability, it can feel almost impossible. And I'll give you a super quick example that I just thought of. I just recently quitted smoking, and I've been done for, I don't know, a little bit over 3 months now, but I have been off and on. I've been probably trying to quit smoking for, I don't know, 2 years, and I'll stop for a minute, get back on, stop for a minute, get back on. And the moment I got accountability with that, which was my mom, thank you, Mom, that is when I was able to completely stop, because I knew I had somebody that was also counting on me. My mom watching me, which I know she didn't want me to smoke anyway, so I knew to have that accountability and have her, I knew I could stop then. So sometimes all you need is that accountability to make that next step. And that may be exactly what you are missing. Maybe you've tried exposure therapy in the past and you've just struggled with it, or you just end up quitting because you don't want to do it, you feel uncomfortable. A lot of times what you're missing is just that accountability piece. And if you can add that in, that can be a game changer for you. I know it has been for me and my lungs. Thank you all for watching. If you liked this video, please subscribe and like this so other people can see it. Also, go check out Mark Manson's video on his YouTube channel. You can see the whole video with Melinda. It's a really good video. It's like 20 minutes long, but it is fantastically done. Thank you, Mark, for sharing that video with all of us. And I'm glad I got to dissect it a little bit and share with my community. So if you liked it, make sure you go subscribe to Mark Manson's channel as well. But until next time, peace.